Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, this is Christian Brindle with Six Figure Medicare Agent. Hope this video finds you doing well. And we're back with another video. Today, guys, I have a very special guest here with me today. Somebody who's become a good, close personal friend of mine. Somebody who, I've got to spend a lot of time with this year at conferences, networking. Like this dude is. We're going to talk a lot about under 65 health insurance today, ACA, all that fun stuff, because he's low key a killer. Like I don't think a lot of people realize like how good of a producer that Andrew really is. But I wanted to make this video to kind of make sure that people understood and they recognized, but also I want to talk about the networking aspect because this dude is, in my opinion, the best networker that goes to any conference anywhere in the whole country. So I want to introduce Andrew Lee, my friend from California. Dude, how are you?
Man, Christian, I love you. I love you, brother. We're like this. We're like this now.
The feeling's mutual.
Come on, man. But no, man, I'm crazy thing, man. As a huge fan of your podcast, when I was a wee little boy at 30 years old, I'm 31 now. I used to listen to your podcast all the freaking time, man. I'd be running cardio, this and that. I heard that intro and I got a little like goosebumps. I was like, yeah, that's the intro he does every time.
That's it.
For killers, man. You've had some amazing people on your podcast and a respectable podcast at that one too, man. In the insurance industry, man, you're sort of a big deal.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. Like, I feel like, we've grown a lot through putting out the content over the last couple of years. But the crazy thing, like, I want to start off with this because, like, this is the thing that, like, to me is just so, like, crazy. Like, so you're a very good producing agent, but, like, you don't broadcast it. Like, you don't brag or anything like that. You know what I mean? I think, like, that is really important because you belong, in front of a camera being interviewed because you have a lot to share. You have a lot of knowledge to share with people. But, like, at these events, for everybody that knows who I am, you get in more rooms than I do, which is amazing. Like, talk about the networking aspect a little bit at these conferences. Like, you are so good at, being very likable. Like, you're just a very likable person. You're a fun person. Like, people want to hang out with you. But, like, talk about how you have so effectively become such a master networker at these events and how you get to spend time with all these amazing people.
Yeah, I was born this way, man. It's been like this from day one, and it's super easy. No, I'm just kidding. No, man. I just like having a good time, and people like to have a good time too. Our industry is on paper, man, just so boring, and we're the only ones that really think it's not. So we just like talk about it, and all of a sudden we're just hanging out and we're just like not talking about it. And then it just turns into like any other conversation than, work. We go out to these networking events and, work is cool and all, but that's not like ultimately when you're buddies with people, especially people that you want to be buddies with, people like you, people that I've met. You generally just don't talk about work. That's just sort of how human nature is. We just don't, if you're friends, you don't want to talk about work all the time.
Right, of course. Like, you just wanna like hang out and have a good time. And like I feel like a lot of people, that see a lot of people like in front of a camera, right? Like maybe like well, this will air after Taco Tuesday, so I'm just gonna say it. Eric Fierro, like somebody might see an Eric Fierro and be like, oh, that's Eric Fierro, Eric Fierro, and like they might be a little intimidated to just like kick it with him and hang out with him, spend time with him. Like you spent like 2 days with Eric Fierro, like, and I think that's what people need to realize is like all these people are just people.
Yeah, I think I grew up in LA my whole life, and you just like see celebrities, and I'm like, what's up, dude?
What up, dude? Celebrities, they're just like, oh, there's that dude, but insurance celebrities like are not really celebrities.
I know, but here's the thing. The platform that you guys are on, Eric Fierro's especially, your platform, I mean, you guys are influencers technically, right? And in the insurance industry, especially for people who are starting off, especially for people who are just like needing this kind of knowledge, somebody that's sort of down in the luck, their first year of producing, they just don't have the book of business yet.
Yeah.
Your guys' voice matters. So when I went up to Eric, I'm like, yo, what up? Or like, when I just go up to you, I'm like, hey, what's up? I know who you guys are, and that's that. Like, what, what else are you gonna do? You're just gonna just hang out and talk about how I do, I'll bring up like, hey man, I liked you on that podcast. That's cool, man. I know you're good, man. Let's kick it, and I wouldn't say that's like a just like a science behind it. It's just like hang out with somebody and then just like have a good time, and we're just hanging out.
Yeah, for sure. So let's be boring for a second and get into the nuts and bolts a little bit about.
Man, I knew you were gonna do that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're gonna ruin it. I knew you're gonna ruin it, bro.
Let's get into it, man. Let's go deep.
So your primary specialty is under 65 health insurance, right? Like I know you do Medicare, you do some other things as well, but like your bread and butter is under 65 health insurance.
Yeah.
I feel like there is a lot of negative preconceived notions that insurance agents have about it, to where like, it's super difficult. The marketplace is really hard to deal with. People have to go rewrite. If they have 1,000 clients, they have to go rewrite every single one, every single open enrollment. Otherwise they lose them at the end of the year. Like there's all these things you hear about that have really been talked about forever. As long as I've been in the business, I've heard all of these things. Like what do you say to people when you hear these like misconceptions about like under 65 health insurance? And like, I mean, what could an agent really expect getting into it if they added it to what they did?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I was trained from the get-go. The way I got into the insurance industry was working for a captive ACA shop. Zero Medicare, zero anything else. Just ACA, short-term plans, of course, but under 65. They specialize in under 65. So that's really all I knew. And what they taught me also there was you got to cross-sell, So a lot of the misnomers, I guess, the reason why people don't want to get into under 65 is because they, the notion of there's no money in it, right? And I was taught, when I first got into my first year as an agent, I was almost at six figures, which as a captive agent, I was getting pretty crap.
Which is impressive though. Like if you can hit six figures as a captive agent, like the commission being so much lower, that's a lot of volume. It
was a lot of advances too. So the chargebacks rolled around later on, but no, I mean, that's how I was taught basically. So that's all I really knew. So a lot of people don't have this advantage of having that, just being in a call center environment and just doing that. Like me, for example, my weak points, I would say life insurance, maybe annuities, things like that. I wouldn't know how to produce like these killers out there, that especially the ones that met at 8% recently, man. Those guys are really good,
Yeah.
So it's sort of the same thing. What we're all doing though is we're all leaving money on the table somehow. And like I was saying, I was talking to Eric about this, funny enough, that life. So Medicare is a labor of love, right? It's a residual. It takes about 3 years to really get into you being comfortable and maybe growing your book of business. But if you want that money right away, especially as a new agent, you want life insurance or health insurance under your belt, right? Because they're going to pay you those advances. So what I would say to a lot of people that aren't doing it is, man, get a mentor. One, you really have to do that just so you can get your bearings in. And then two, it's advanced commission. So, that's what's going to feed you sometimes. And so that I had the luxury of doing that first and then getting into Medicare after.
Got it. So let's pick apart some misconceptions about under 65 health insurance. So like you kind of tackled that one right there. Like there's no money in it. Like I think that one's kind of been put to bed pretty well as of late. Talk about like what an agent can expect during an open enrollment period, like an OEP for under 65 health insurance, like maybe particularly like on ACA side or on the marketplace side. I know we'll get into the California side of that in a second here, but like,
Yeah.
what do you like? What would an agent expect if they had, they built up a book of business, maybe like 100 people, right? 100
Mm-hmm.
people, 200 people, something like that. Like, do they have to go back and specifically rewrite all those people, just review their policies? I've always been, I won't. I'm not going to answer my own question, but like, what is that? What can a new agent expect, or kind of really kind of see when they start getting into that, and then they run into an OEP at the end of the year?
Yeah. So we'll break down all the fears of ACA in this
Yeah.
podcast. Okay, we're gonna break all that down. So number one is there's no money in it. There is money in it, and we can go into that. The easiest answer I would say is cross selling. There is money in it if you cross sell. Okay, so number two is for the people who are like, man, I don't want to renew all these people. I have 1,000 people in my book, and I have to rewrite them myself. My NPN number is not tied to my admin or anything like that. I got to do it myself. It's just sort of something you have to do in ACA. Okay, and I mean, these are your renewals. It is the name of the game. Now I'm in California, so the marketplace is for I believe for Utah too, healthcare.gov. And people go through Health Sherpa to get there. If they're not contracted through a certain carrier, they'll get that whatever 50 to whatever amount bonus. And this is all happening during open enrollment. So traditionally, October, I believe 15th. The reason October 15th, I think the December 15th, right? Or October 1st to December 15th. The reason why my numbers are all messed up in terms of dates is because I'm in California and we've had open enrollment since 2019. So I forgot about these dates already.
You're like, wait, there's an open enrollment?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I've been very blessed to capture that market just because of COVID. I mean, it really, for people, that's why a lot of people are talking about ACA now, like adding it to their business, is because everybody's finding out how much money is in it, and like these open enrollment periods, and how short the sales cycle is, like the actual conversation. Right. So just to answer your question, if you have 1,000 people under your book, you just have to rewrite them. It is what it is. Yeah. Now I'm in California. I write a lot of California, and stay away from California, everybody listening to this podcast, because it's all me. No, I'm just kidding. California. But what's cool about Cover California, which is the state exchange, it's like a healthcare.gov specifically for California, is that it automatically renews for me every year. I don't have to waste that first year of just calling and, hey, do I have to make changes? It just automatically reinstates it for me. Not only that, is the clients can go in to their own specific account and change their carriers to whatever else it is. And I'm still contracted with all these carriers. So if they're going to go from like a Oscar to like a Blue Shield, or like a Blue Shield to an Oscar, what have you, and they don't even, they do it autonomously. They don't let me know. I still get the commissions for it. So it's sort of like a very safe vessel when it comes to Cover California.
That's crazy. Yeah. So I know it's tempting, guys, but stay out of California.
Yeah.
I know it's tempting. Yeah. So but I think I know countless agents that are just, they write a bunch of ACA, you write a bunch of ACA. I feel like the best cross sellers I've ever really met on a policy to policy basis, like there's definitely some in the Medicare space as well, but it seems like a lot of the really great cross sellers that I've encountered have been under 65 agents, because like it's so easy to bundle, right? Like you let's say somebody qualifies for a really wicked subsidy, right? It's so easy to tack on a hip product or some, cancer product, something along with it. Talk about that a little bit. Like, why is it so much? I don't want to say it's easier to cross sell for ACA, but like it might be a simpler cross sell. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Because seniors are more apt to not being cross sold. They don't want to be cross sold. However, it happens, especially with the people that are doing pretty well they're just more, they want to save money. It is what it is for them. With ACA, it's a gamut of things. If you explain these things correctly, put in statistics. So if you're cross-selling, let's say you have your major medical, let's say you have like a Blue Shield plan or something like that. You have your major medical, you're getting more subsidies because of this American Rescue Plan thing that just passed a couple months ago. All of a sudden you're getting new subsidies, and then your plans are like $1 or $2, what have you, and generally if it's not full coverage, like a nice like cost sharing reduction silver plan, then if they have like a bronze, of course you'd want to, just mention the silver plan. If that's not the case and they're not receiving too much subsidies, they have enough money to buy other products, right? And the way you would do it is you would put it together as a package. It's a bundle, Shout out to Galen Hendricks.
Yeah,
she's the queen at it.
The queen.
All the bundles bow down to her. So you would bundle everything together, and you would explain it with, I tell stories. I tell stories of past clients just so you put value on these cancer policies. Cancer policies, can make a difference for people who are like over 40 something years old. They've already had some kind of maybe bout with cancer or like a scare or had family members. But these people that are, 30, they're just really not worried about it. It's just, they just know that it exists. Right. So what you'd want to do is you'd really want to paint the picture. You'd really want to tell stories about like, hey, this is a situation, put out statistics, and these statistics really help out with really painting the picture. And you bundle that with a dental policy as well too. So dental policy, the commissions can get pretty sexy, and people sleep on dental. People really do sleep on dental, but you can make a five-figure, residual income from just only dental. There's tons of people doing that. So you put all those three together. Now it's worth the cost per lead. Now you're not just like, oh, I spent like this much money on whatever X amount of leads, but then all of a sudden, if you have all three of those, it's like having 3 clients.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like it's pretty crazy too when you look at some of those spreads on like a dental vision, like a really good dental vision hearing product. Yeah. Like in that first year, we were talking about this off camera a second ago. Like, on Manhattan Life, for example, like that's a pretty good first year payout, right? Like, especially if you get, maybe if you're doing an ACA plan for a family, and you end up doing multiple people on it, like, it can add a significant amount to your bottom line, but you're also covering their risk. It's not like you're just like, I think some people in our business, they're like, oh, they're selling 3-4 policies. They're trying to just money grab. That's not true at all.
That's not true at all.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. But excuse my French, but like, it's just you're covering their risks with a great product. Most of us are products of our products. Like most of us have these policies on ourselves. Like I have a cancer policy on myself. I have a DVH policy on myself. It's because they're great products, but like you can also increase their your commission as well by doing it. But you're also doing them a service. Like it's a place where you win and they win.
Yeah, exactly, man. And in the 8 years I've been doing this, I really like Manhattan Life just because before I was writing like these national generals, like I was a captive agent, so I had to sell what they told me to sell, right? And I just had zero say in the quality of what I'm selling. And I want to, if they're going to be my clients, they're going to be covered, right? And I'm selling them these products. The word sell is not a bad word. Everybody needs to get that out of their head too. We're all salespeople. The reason why we're selling this is because it's good for you, it's good for me, it's good for the economy, to quote Marshall Silver, right? It's good for everybody. So we're going to have a product that we really want to believe in and really want to sell. I love the Manhattan Life. Like I've sold, all kinds of Carrington products before. I've sold, like I said, National General, things like that. Man, the Manhattan Life is awesome. It's $3,000 maximum out of pocket protection, or maximum out of pocket that they'll cover. Also, it goes from 60% first year, 70% second year, 80% third year, and it's double the coverage of what it would be with like a Delta Dental or something like that, and it's indemnity. So if you're out of network, you can you can get a reimbursement for that after you file a claim. So just that kind of stuff. Just explain everything to them and have it make sense. that really is the heart of cross-selling. Just have everything make sense, because if you're just throwing things in, that's not cross-selling. That's just you, like you were saying, like a money grab. You have to really, really get into the heads of these people. It's it's about them, and you have to make it about them in order for you to really explain that and get that message across.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's very true, very insightful. One thing that really sticks out to me about under 65 health insurance, and like you hear this about Medicare too, but it's even more so for under 65, is it's really underserviced, like tremendously underserviced. Like I feel like people always talk about how we shouldn't really, view competition as competition in the Medicare space. And there's so much business out there. We really don't step each other's toes, which I agree with. I actually believe that as well.
Yeah.
But in the under 65 space, like there's literally like nobody you're competing with. I've noticed that, like there's very, very few, it seems like in the scheme of things. Like, do you think there's going to be a wave in the next like 3 to 5 years of agents that figure this thing out and they're like, hey, this isn't that hard, like, hey, I can do an app in like 15 to 20 minutes, hey, I got to do certs, but like they're not nearly as tough as AHIP, or time consuming as AHIP. Do you think there's going to be like a wave of agents that figure that out in like the near future, and then all of a sudden like agents will just flood into it? Or like what do you feel like is the future with that? Because it's very underserviced. It's surprising to me.
Yeah. What I feel like would happen is, well, 19 to 64, there's more people than than there are 65 and up, right? So that's why it's underserviced, and a lot of people shy away from ACA because most of these big carriers or these big FMOs, they're Medicare heavy. There's a handful of them that I know that really specialize and niche down on ACA. And then there's some that dabble, right? And it's just like we do some just because it falls on our lap. Nobody there's not too many FMOs that have like a full-on launch. Like let's do ACA, and this is what we're going to be focusing on. Now, with that being said, I don't think that there's going to be. I think there's some buzz right now. There's some excitement because of this whole American Rescue Plan, SEPs being ringed out until the 15th of this month is there's been open enrollment for 8 months, which is unheard of in my whole career. I've never seen this before.
Right.
And California has it all year long, and we don't stop till traditionally January 15th, and they always extend it to the 31st. So I always say the 31st. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to get used to it, and then they're not going to. If everything goes back to normal, there's going to be open enrollment periods again and all that. And then they're sort of going to be like, oh man, what was that all about? And then just revert back to what they were doing. That's how I foresee ACA. I mean, the people that are pushing it really hard right now, do it now, and I'm sure that people that know what they're doing, and that's probably what they're doing. But I don't see like a huge boom of ACA. There are still some big, like I think Health Markets is one of the bigger I wouldn't even say FMOs, they're like captive agencies.
Yeah.
There's ways to, people do a lot of short term, there's big FMOs out there that do like just strictly national general, short term plans, ACA replacement plans. So there's always going to be another lane when it comes to under 65. It's just I just like to specialize in ACA, and I can totally do short term plans. It's just I have to market to the right clientele to do so. That makes sense.
Right, for sure. And it's funny you mentioned short term plans, because there have seemed to be quite a push for those as of the last like year or so. Like they've become a lot more popular to sell for agents. And like I know why. I think I know why. I think you know why as well. Like the commission is like unbelievable.
Well, besides that, if I can add, and I'm sure maybe you know this. Well, when Trump was president, it was a short term. He made it so that it's a 3-year length.
Right.
So one advanced commission could be that much more money. So there's been a lot of push for short term medical as of recently. because of that too.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, and it's interesting because like we'll see people in the industry and like, some people will fall on the ACA side of things. Some people will fall on the short-term side of things, and they almost like battle against each other, like
Weird, huh?
shit about each other, like all this stuff. I'm just like, this is insane. This is like to me, med sup people talking shit about Medicare Advantage people, but that does happen too. But like, it didn't seem to me like it was quite as ruthless or as savage as like, I don't know, like I feel like if you're going to do under 65 health insurance, you should be able to do both, right? Because you'll run into people that maybe a short term makes sense for them for some reason,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. So I do both, right? So I'm sort of stuck in the middle. I'm like, man, if you guys are fighting on each side,
I love you both. I love you both.
right? You know me,
Yeah.
man. I'm a schmoozer, man. I just want everybody to get along.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's hilarious that you bring that up because there are like specific marketplace like groups on
It's
Facebook.
like Bloods and Crips.
Like Bloods and Crips, man. Can't we just all get along? Because they'll have that, and they'll be like, okay, it's strictly ACA, which I do a lot of ACA. Come on, like that. That's that's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
And then there's the short term groups, and then they're like, no, we're doing this, and then it's like, and you know what? I can make an argument for both sides. I can make an argument for who's going to be qualified for a short term plan, and I feel like the ACA people feel like they're doing somebody a disservice by getting them a short-term plan, which is not the case.
Right.
For not everybody's going to be in the same situation. So if you're thinking like that, then you might be doing actually them a disservice. Like for example, I have a doctor that's a client. He's a physician. So I got him. We don't have short-term medical. We have like the affordable choice in California. We can't do short-term medical. Super weird. But I have a doctor. But I'm like, hey, like, read through everything, right? Read through everything. You don't qualify for subsidies. And he's a physician. He's not a specialist. So he's not making like he wants to save some money, right? So I'm like, read through everything. We're going to go over this line by line. And, if you want to diagnose yourself, like just have one of your people in your office, just like you're a doctor, So
Right.
not everybody. So that option, he's like, yeah, Andrew, this is what I want. Like, I'm not going to pay, $1,300 for a bronze whatever Blue Shield plan or whatever. I'm not going to do that, Andrew. So I'm like, okay, well, affordable choice is perfect for you.
Right.
This is going to be a good fit for you. So you can make the argument on both sides, and they're both valid arguments. So that's why I can see myself sort of in the middle, just saying, hey, like you can't just pick one side. You really have to think about what the client is going through, and you don't have to feel dirty about selling a STM plan, a short-term medical plan. And you don't have to feel like you're losing commission doing an ACA plan because you're at the end of the day, if that's right for them, you got to do that.
Right. Absolutely. Like it's all a needs-based thing. It's a needs-based assessment. And like people, I feel like lose sight of that, right? I think agents a lot of times can lose sight of that. They're like, I'm trying to get the highest premium I possibly can, or something like that. On like a life insurance sale, I'm trying to get the highest premium I could possibly can on maybe like a short-term medical sale. For anybody that's watching this is like brand new to under 65, like, can you explain just briefly about short-term medical and like what's the pros are, what the cons are, like what it covers, what it doesn't cover? Just kind of dive into that real quickly for any people that are watching that might be newbies.
Yeah. So short-term medical is ACA replacement plans. So these are plans that sort of in a way look like a major medical plan, but just aren't as robust in certain areas. And that's okay too, right? You do get what you pay for. Generally, they're going to be lower cost if you don't qualify for subsidies and say you got quoted $1,000 for an ACA policy because you made too much money, and then all of a sudden you're looking at like a $296 like short-term plan that'll cover. So generally, like National General is going to be like the number one on my list personally. Everybody can have their own opinion about that, but National General has an Aetna network. They have specific networks that you can be in. You can be in the Aetna or the Cigna network. So whichever doctors take that, I guess you're a little bit more limited And I don't want, like I said, short-term people coming after me. But it's just what it is. You can just choose those networks, which is cool. They give you two options now, and generally it's, the deductibles can be higher, and in like a Manhattan Affordable Choice Plan, let's say, that's an indemnity policy, so you got to just pay up front, and then you gotta pay that back, or pay up front and then get a claim to cover everything, get reimbursed. Exactly. So it's good for people who are just healthy, and you do get underwritten, by the way, for short-term medical plans. You don't have to get underwritten for ACA plans, so I would say the healthier you are, and the more income that you make, short-term might make better sense to you. Like, I've had all kinds of plans. I've had short-term plans. I've had religious, like, health share plans, and also ACA, so it just depends on where you're at. But did that sort of answer the question as to what how?
Yeah, that was great. Okay. Just trying to keep the newbies in mind, because sometimes we'll put a video out like this and it'll have like insane value for like people that might already be in it a little bit, and they're trying to do it better. But then like a newbie will be like, "What, short-term medical?" So I knew that would happen.
Right. And it depends on really which FMO you go to. Some are going to push it. It's like, like some shops are Med Subs and some shops are Advantage. Really depends on who you work for and what they really want you to sell, and that if you find, like, if you're new to any of this under 65, get a mentor, and you really do need one. Like, you actually do, right? I mean, you can try to find out for yourself. What's the point? Get a mentor, find an FMO that you like, and then if they sell short-term medical, go ahead and do that. If they're more ACA lenient, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I like that. Andrew, I want to be respectful of your time. This was a killer video, so I really appreciate you taking the time and jumping on here and blessing us with your knowledge.
The blessings are all mine.
So, last question I got for you would be, what's the best way for people to connect with Andrew Lee? Like, where's the best place to connect with you? Where's the best place to find you? Where do you like to hang out online on social media the most?
I love Facebook. Facebook is, I mean, I'm sure you do too.
Facebook.
Yeah. So just look me up on Facebook, Andrew D. Lee. If you guys are already agents and you guys see me, I'm pretty easy to notice. One of the few few cats from California that you'll sort of guess.
Boom, demonetized, racism.
Hey, you said it, not me. Like I said, I forgot who I was talking to about this, and I was like, man, I'm gonna trademark Medicare, or like insurance agent, or like Medicare agent, because it's like, what, you're a Medicare agent? It's sort of like that, that scene in Super Troopers where it's like license and registration, meow, like, it's just sort of like a subtle kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I'm an insurance agent. I mean, agent,
Oh God.
So yeah, demonetized, Christian. I'm sorry. But
terrible. That's a real problem.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious. But I mean, besides that, everything else is, man, like I said, thanks for having me on. I love you. Like, homie to homie. And
come on. The feeling's mutual. The feeling's mutual.
Come on. Yeah. And very grateful to have for you to have me on, man. Like I said, I'm a fan, so I like to, man, when they talk about get in the room, man, I literally had you in my room doing a podcast with Eric Piera. So trust me, man, as a fly on the wall fan, man, this was awesome, man.
Hey, well, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. And like, anybody, if you don't know Andrew, you should. Like, when you go to conferences, he should be one of the people that you like spend some time with, because your conference, like, okay, there's two ways you can spend a conference. There's with Andrew, without Andrew. With Andrew is a lot more fun than without. I guarantee it, because I've been on both ends of the spectrum, and I prefer my conferences with Andrew in them than without. So
wow, yeah, I can't believe you've been going to conferences before me. That's like, man, I can't believe you were doing that.
It's freaking boring. Like,
so boring.
You're like, you leave early. Like, oh, is it time to go already? Like,
there's like insanely valued speakers up there, and you're like,
I'm like, this is terrible.
Oh man.
Well, Guy, thank you for doing this again. Like seriously, like this, I really appreciate all the value you brought and all the knowledge. And guys, you should definitely be getting in the room, network like Andrew, be like Andrew, and do under 65 health insurance, just not in California.
I mean, you can, but I'm gonna outsell you.
He's gonna kill you. He's gonna crush you. You know, like all of a sudden you're gonna go in and you're gonna go and look at an application, and your NPN is gonna be replaced with his.
Yeah, and you're never gonna know how.
Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this, this video all the way to the end. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it so it finds more people just like you, helps the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you're notified when we upload, and comment what you liked in the video and what you didn't like. I want to hear both. And we'll see you next time, guys. Here's to your success and your abundance. Thanks, guys.